Shawn Skipper of Leupold Optics joins the show to talk about his recent mountain lion hunting experience and something a lot bigger.
Hey, I'm KJ, dedicated lifelong hunter here. If you got an interest in all things hunting, you're in the right spot. Whether chasing quail across the plains of Oklahoma or in pursuit of elk in the backcountry of British Columbia, you'll always find me on the hunt.
All right, welcome into the podcast, all you gun talk hunters. I'm your host, KJ, and this episode is brought to you by Ruger, Range Ready, Savage Arms, Franke, CZ USA, Smith & Wesson, and Hodgdon. Today, very special guest, very recognizable guest on the show, Shawn Skipper from Leupold Optics. Welcome in, Skip.
Thank you, KJ. Good to see you as always. I can't even try to pretend that I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller. That's just not the case here.
No, definitely not the case here. So you're rocking a new setup. I like it. I dig it. So how are things in your woods?
In the woods have been pretty good. Yeah, our setup is very nice over here now. We've got one of our content creators, David, here helping me out. He's just off screen. Hi, David.
Hi, David. How are you doing?
Yeah, I do think our studio is missing that little oryx that I made fun of you for last time.
This one? Or wait, this one?
Yeah, there you go.
That one?
We're gonna have to go ahead and get one of those so I can hang that behind me too.
He looks like he's shorter horn because his horn sweeps so far back off camera.
They
go way back over there. No,
optical illusion. I get it.
It's a small one.
But no, things have been great over here out in Beaverton, Oregon. Just wanted to check in with you guys, see how things are in the Southeast. I know you guys obviously had a rough fall with some weather, but I'm hoping things are bouncing back for everybody.
Yeah, things are bouncing back. It's not bad. The offices didn't flood or they leaked a little bit, but other than that, we've been very lucky this year. We've got, a couple of years ago, Ida came through here. That was a wild one. But anymore, man, I don't leave for storms. Like, I feel like, you know what? If it's my time to get swept away, it's my time.
Well, I'm really excited for you to eventually be like the 60-year-old guy, shirtless, so you can show off your abs, like strapping up his house while the storm rolls.
There are no abs being shown. I can promise you that. Well, so off camera, we were talking a little bit about optics, and I asked you kind of, so I wanted to ask this because it's happened to me before. Can one screw being loose on an optic make a huge difference? That was kind of
when you say on an optic, you're talking about the mounting solution of the firearm.
Yes, the mounting solution. So not the scope. It's about the rings. So or a base. So if I know a base would, but if like you have, let's say, 4 screws holding this ring together, and all of them were, the 25 inch-pounds per, turn or whatever it is. If they were all good and you had one loose, would it make a difference?
If you want consistent results, you need everything to be delivering on the platform, right? One inconsistency may not cause any problems. I have absolutely, checked my firearms after a day at the range and found something a little bit loose that did not affect my performance, but it can. It absolutely can, depending on what's loose, where it's loose. Yeah. Even the slightest bit of movement, it can impact your results, especially if you're looking for precision work out 600, 700, 800 yards.
Yeah. So I guess that leads to another question. How often are you checking? So are you checking, like you said, like every time after you leave the range? Like, are you just verifying?
I will say I'm probably guilty of not checking every time I leave the range, but before I go put a gun to work on the range, I will check.
Yeah. That's just good practice to get in anyway.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes at the end of the day, you're tired, it's hot, it's been a long day. I might not do all the checks on things like screws and torque, but before I go use it again, I absolutely will.
Yeah. Well, honestly, like, we have no direction for this podcast. Like, typically how Shawn Skipper gets onto this podcast. One, he's a great friend. He's a great guy. But 2, I have to look through my Instagram feed to make sure, like, okay, his dog River, I got the update on that. Now what's Skip up to? And anytime I have him on, he has killed something big, like something big, or he's been on an adventure. Last time we talked to you, you were about to go to Africa, or you had just gotten back.
Yeah, I was still dealing with the tick bite fever, which was a lot of fun. A 0 out of 10, do not recommend, but
A 0 out of 10. Man,
yeah,
you
just,
didn't even get a 1?
no, I mean, well, just much like being, taking a bite from a brown recluse or a black widow. There's a little part of me on my leg. It'd be inappropriate to show where it was. I'd be in some very short shorts to show that off. But it's just that little part of my body is gone. It died because of the tick bite. So
No
there's a
kidding.
little chunk of me that's not coming back. So 0 out of 10, do not recommend South African tick bite fever.
Oh my gosh, dude, I can't believe that. That like makes me not want to go. But
Well,
I
we're
mean,
just don't roll around in the ticks. And
but if
I will still say this, KJ. The scariest thing in South Africa are the running ticks, ticks that run.
wait, they're not slow. They're not all slow. I thought this was genetically they're all ticks are predisposed to like slowness.
Look, on my kudu, there were ticks. If you put your hand down, they'd run. You'd see them run, like the scariest thing in the world.
How big are they?
Normal tick size.
Like, but they're fast.
Yeah, and they're fast.
Do they latch on pretty solid?
From what I was told, they are. It's uncommon for the running ones to bite, and I didn't wait around to find out.
Yeah, that's fair. So here's a dumb story about me. I love telling dumb stories about me. Actually, it was. Do you remember when we were up in Canada and we were bear hunting and I shot a bear? Do you remember how many ticks were on that bear? And I like hopped down to take a photo with it.
Too many.
Yeah. I'm talking there was hundreds of ticks on this bear, and I'm like, oh, I'll just jump in there for a quick photo. It won't take that long. That was before I remembered that like some ticks, if they bite you, you all of a sudden become allergic to red meat. How stupid is that?
Oh yeah, no, and I remember that trip. I mean, that trip was ticky enough. I remember being at the airport and we're leaving, and it was still just like, oh, here's one.
Oh, gross.
There's
one.
one.
That's disgusting. That.
Almost
Hey,
illegally brought them back into the United States.
Did you ask TSA if they'd give you a tick check?
No, no, that's not really my style. That's more your style. But I will say on the South Africa tick bite fever, the guy at the Minute Clinic, when I was arguing with him, just trying to get some antibiotics, he was like, "Well, did you bring the tick back?" And I said, "Yes." And he goes, "Really?" I said, "No, I did not bring a tick back from South Africa." No, I was clearly messing with you.
He was like, wait, I let it go somewhere in this office.
Yeah, it's just here now.
Good luck. Godspeed and good luck finding it.
Yeah. But no. But this time I think you caught me holding a big mountain lion on Instagram, which is it's the whole story in itself. And it all starts with us being actually in Wyoming on a bison hunt, testing out some new optics that will be very excited to show off to you guys and your viewers at SHOT Show.
Oh my gosh, new optics? Well, I mean, you got to come up with something new. Is it? Well, all right, give us a little bit of a hint. Is it a new reticle?
Not a new reticle. We're talking about a whole new scope.
Okay.
I can't get into much more than that at this time, but
it's a metal tube.
It's an aluminum tube, yes.
All right, aluminum.
And
all right.
There's an erector in there for magnification and some adjustments.
Okay. So there's adjustment knobs. There's elevation and windage.
Oh yeah, that's all in there, and it's designed, machined, and assembled here in our Beaverton, Oregon factory.
What else do you need to know?
No, I mean nothing really. People should already be putting orders, but
they're bright green.
The zombie thing has kind of gone out of style, so they are not bright green.
Oh man, bright pink.
I just don't. We could probably do a short run of like breast cancer awareness scopes, but I don't know if we could do all the time.
See, we get all the good ideas, man. I'm telling you.
We do. We should start our own company. But we were out hunting some bison near Devil's Tower in Wyoming, a beautiful part of the world if you've ever been out there. And putting this new scope to use. I had some media members out there. Yours is actually sitting at my desk, for the record.
Yours perfect.
So you'll get to see it soon. But no, we were putting that to work and just some field testing, getting some early evaluations from other members of the media in preparation for an early 2025 launch. And then, it's time to leave Wyoming. We had a great trip and some snow set in. And one great thing about this industry is that the people in it are usually so welcoming and so happy to just take other folks. And so I was flying out of Gillette, Wyoming, and my buddy Corey, who lived there, was like, "Hey, if you're going to be stuck here because of the snow, because it dumped like a foot in a day, he's like, I'm going to run my cat dogs tomorrow regardless. You should come with me and try to shoot a mountain lion."
Oh, you got to be kidding. That's an over-the-counter tag?
Yes. Now, depending on the unit you're in Wyoming, there are quotas for non-residents.
Okay.
And my cat actually may have wound up, I believe it closed the quota for the region we were in.
No kidding.
Yeah, one of those deals where you got to call fish and game office in the
Yeah.
morning if there are any animals left or remaining, and then as soon as you call yours in, they change the report.
No
So he was like,
kidding.
look, he's like, get a tag, let's do it. So I said, okay, sure. And then went through Corey's mountain lion prep class. When I say that, he's like, okay, we got to be up at 3. He goes, where are your boots? And I said, right here. And because we're walking on so much ice and snow and rocks, at his recommendation, I actually turned my boots into kind of ice treads really quickly, just with a drill and some screws.
You've got to be kidding.
No, put little bolts in the bottom of my boots, and they're still there, just to kind of shore up my footing.
Yeah.
He's like, you don't have to do it,
So-
but I recommend it. And he showed me, and sure enough, the bottom of his boots had little treads he drilled into them himself.
No kidding.
Little DIY rather than buying like ice spikes.
I mean, might as well, right? I mean, so this all came on a whim after a bison hunt, but I mean, how many dogs is he running?
So he's got a whole pack of hounds. Then his lead dog Keisha, who I've known since she was a pup. Then we also had some buddies of his. Like everybody, as soon as the snow started to fall, right? This is the cat community it's tight knit. As soon as the snow started to fall, his phone was lighting up. Are we going tomorrow? Where are you going? Like, because they all wanted to run their dogs and see if they could go. Like everybody was excited about it. Like every crew, then they just wanted to get out there and work their dogs and try to chase a line, because you're not guaranteed to find a track. And
Right.
actually, the 3 different trucks, in his friend circle, we were the only one that cut a fresh track. But like everybody was excited, so we had our dogs loaded up. We had his buddy's dogs loaded up in our truck, 2 other trucks with their dogs, and we get out there. And by the time we actually get out, go about the hour and a half you wanted to go to hunt, and made a gas stop and
Right.
breakfast sandwich stop. You need the breakfast Sammys. We get fired up, and at 6 o'clock, we're out kind of starting to look for tracks, and it was about 10 after 7, so legal time. We actually cut a track, and then it became a matter of, okay, now we saw that we had the track coming out of the timber. We had to find out where it went back into the timber to get the dogs on it.
Gotcha.
So we get out of the truck and we follow for a while, and it's cutting across this timber road. So occasionally we're losing it because there are timber trucks going back and forth. It was still elk season in this unit, so you got elk hunters going back and forth, kind of driving over the tracks, not realizing it. So we're looking. It takes about a half hour, and we finally figure out where it goes back down into the timber, and it drops down to a lower road. So we drive down to that road, and sure enough, tracks just keep going back, start going up into high timber. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Corey said, it's not a super fresh track, but it's not a super old track. It's probably the best we're going to find this morning. Let me put 2 dogs and this guy on it, and we'll see what happens. And those 2 dogs, they hop out and they're sniffing around, and they start following. And it wasn't long, and they went from following to it's hot to we've got a cat going. So sent a couple more dogs up, and then we got kind of on the hoof and started trekking up after him, because the chase was on. They jumped the cat pretty quickly.
Really?
Yeah, these dogs jumped the cat pretty quickly. We got lucky. It had just killed a fawn and was up there sitting on it eating.
No kidding.
So it had kind of posted up. It was eating. It was going to lay down, and the dogs got on it. And next thing you know, we're chasing after the dogs, and it is just total. I've never done a mountain lion hunt before, and it was pretty much total chaos.
It sounds hard to manage. I mean, because you're dealing with dogs. Anytime you're dealing with dogs on a hunt, I mean, if they're not your dogs, you're just going, I don't know what's going on. How do you think River would have fared on the hunt? She would have
hopped back in the truck and been like, I want donuts and coffee. I mean, we're talking about a foot of snow. It's cold.
Yeah.
It's snowing when we're starting the chase. Corey and I are trucking up after these dogs, and I mean, it's a haul. We're just following the tracks. We don't know how this cat's going to run. We're following the tracks because at least we know that footing is secure, because again, now you got snow drifts and all, so we don't want to just start heading straight up to where we think everything's going, because then you're getting into what are you walking through. So we're following, and it's all uphill, and you're steady slipping and sliding and ducking under trees. And after a while, I got tired of ducking under trees and just started trucking through the trees. So I'm just covered in snow. You know me, I don't get cold, so naturally I rolled up my sleeves like right away. Took off the gloves, put in my pockets, the sleeves. I was like, we're doing this, because you're starting to just like radiate heat as you're stomping uphill.
Yeah.
My glasses are fogging up, and we the cat trees, we're trying to get up to the tree where the dogs are, and it wasn't in a great perch there, so it wound up getting a little nervous and hopped back down, and then the race was on again.
Hold on a second. It jumped down, and you were down there?
We weren't quite up to it yet. That's why he was able to get down. It was just the dogs.
Jeez.
We were
I was
trying
going
to
to say that'd make me a little bit more than nervous.
Yeah, we were hustling. No, we were hustling to catch up, and it just jumped. It took off running again, but it just wanted a better perch. So it went about 60 yards uphill, went up to that tree, and it felt secure and solid up there. So it got up into that tree. And as we got close, I mean, we're pulling out ropes and like just hooking them onto things to drag ourselves up because it's getting so steep.
Oh, okay.
And we just need something to hang on to. Otherwise, you're doing the 1 step forward, 4 steps back kind of deal, right? Like, so you're grabbing onto whatever you can. Get up to the tree, and sure enough, there's a mountain lion staring at you from 30 yards away, and it's angry and it's hissing because it knows it's not a great situation for it to be in.
Right.
It's looking around like this is bad. This is probably bad.
This is my last stand. Is what I'm like. I'm like, oh, is it gonna fight? Because it ain't gonna fly. I mean, cats can't fly.
No, and then it becomes the last 30 seconds of total chaos, right? I got the 44 mag lever action. Just iron sights. Yeah. Corey, buddy, you're trying to tie the dogs off because you don't want them to. If you hit the cat and he's wounded, you don't want them to take off after it without them being under control because wounded cats are. So they want to get them tied off. So if the cat doesn't fall out of the tree dead, the dogs don't just take off after it. So they're hurrying up trying to get the dogs like just secured. And the people are yelling, and it's snowing and it's cold. My glasses are fogging up, and then it's just, is everybody ready? And you just hear, yeah. And it is definitely not for the folks that need quiet or calm when you get up to the tree. There's a lot going on, a lot happening.
You can't quiet everybody down and go, okay, guys, is everybody good? Because dogs are probably baying. I mean, how many dogs were y'all running?
At that time, we had 5 with us up there. There were still more in the truck, but we had 5 at the time we got to the tree.
I bet those dogs in the truck were pissed.
Yeah, they were.
All this go down.
But no, we're up there, and it is not the kind of environment where this is not the 18th tee at Augusta, right? It's not
right.
And I'm leaning against one tree just to get a better rest with the rifle, and also support myself because it's so steep. I don't want to start sliding down the hill. And I've got my right leg kind of hooked around like a shrub brush again, just to support me.
Yeah,
just trying to hold myself up, and just said, "Everybody ready?" And Corey yells, "Everybody ready?" And got like one affirmative, like, yeah. Just, lined up those iron sights, tried to put it right in the pocket, and then you shoot, and, you see and hear the impact on the cat.
Yeah.
But with all the snow, you have no idea what's going, because, he jumps, right? Because he's hit. Well, that blows up like a huge puff of white smoke. And Corey's like, chamber another one. So I run another one. I'm like, can you see it? He goes, oh, no, I can't see nothing. It's just the whole tree has exploded. It's just white everywhere.
Yeah.
White Christmas in front of you. And then you hear him falling through the trees, and he hits the ground, and everybody kind of looks, right? Because you're just like, be dead. And he hit the ground dead as a doornail. That 44 mag, 240 grain bullet from Hornady just ate him up.
Jeez. Yeah.
He hit the ground, and it was so steep, this cat just slid 60 yards downhill, and he in the snow just.
And that's where you had to go, right? So you really didn't. Good.
We're going downhill now. Yeah. So they celebrated, cut the dogs loose, let them run down there and get their reward, which is, jumping on the cat. He's done. Let them chomp on him a little bit, feel like they did. They get all excited.
Oh, yeah.
Lead dogs chasing the other dogs off of him. Like, no, this is my cat now.
Yeah. Everybody stand back. I'll take care of this.
I did this.
Yes. This was me. Me.
And then we just, I kind of slid down on my butt right to the cat because it was that steep. You just kind of slide. Yeah.
Man, so how far did you end up from out of the truck chasing all the way up to where you were?
We probably covered, he was by the GPS, because obviously we had GPS count,
right?
The dogs. It was about 1,000 yards from truck to where the cat was shot. Probably about 2,500 yards of stomping around, because we obviously didn't walk a straight line. We did
right. But then you're gaining elevation,
and gaining elevation the whole time, and in the snow and in the rocks. Jeez. And truthfully, a lot of cat guys said that's a short chase. We were very lucky. We had a cat that had just eaten, so he was cramping up. He wanted to be in a tree. They can run miles, sometimes before you really get into them. So we get lucky. Did it hurt? Yes, still it absolutely still hurt, but we got luckier than most.
Yeah, I mean, man, it doesn't seem like you were prepared for a cat hunt, but it sounds like it worked out. Luckily.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, and the drill. If you do this long enough, sometimes you get really unlucky, and sometimes you get really lucky.
Yep. Dude, that's amazing. All right. Hey, we're going to take a real quick break because there's something a little bit bigger that I do want to talk about on the other side of this break with Shawn Skipper. Unmatched precision with the Ruger American Gen 2. In the heart of the wilderness, precision matters. Ruger introduces the American Gen 2 rifle. Designed for hunters who demand excellence, the Ruger American Gen 2 offers enhanced accuracy, smooth bolt action, and durable design. It's the perfect companion for any hunting expedition, providing reliable performance every time you pull the trigger. Trust the Ruger American Gen 2 to deliver when it counts. Visit Ruger.com to learn more and find your next hunting rifle. It's time to prepare for the shot of a lifetime. Whether you're a seasoned hunter or new to the sport, preparation is key. I preach it all the time. At Range Ready Studios, we offer the training you need to make that shot of a lifetime. Chris Serino is on staff, and he has a host of instructors on hand to provide personalized trainings in state-of-the-art facilities and practical exercises that build your confidence and skills. From precision marksmanship to quick target acquisition, we've got you covered. Don't leave your success to chance. Visit rangereadystudios.com to learn more. All right, we're talking about one of my absolute favorite hunting suppressors. This one is developed for that backcountry guy. That's the banished backcountry. So if you want to be stealthy in the field, you got to go lighter. You got to go smaller. We understand that. That's where the banished backcountry really steps up. Designed for the ultimate portability and maximum noise reduction, the banished backcountry suppressor ensures you stay quiet and undetected in the wilds. Silencer Central makes it effortless to own because it delivers right to your doorstep. This is the beauty of what Silencer Central does. They contact you, you contact them, like you get it bought, you get everything taken care of, and one day you get a little email that says, you know what? Your suppressor is on the way, and that's when it shows up on your door, and you can rest easy knowing that you will be quiet in the field. Hunt smarter and quieter with the banished backcountry. Visit silencercentral.com to start your journey. In the backcountry, every ounce counts. When the hunt takes you to the extremes, the Savage Ultralight Elite is built to go the distance. Featuring a carbon fiber wrapped barrel and an MDT HNT 26 stock for perfect balance. The Ultralight Elite is engineered for hunters who demand performance at the highest elevations. Precision, power, all in a rifle weighing under 6 pounds. The Savage Ultralight Elite, designed for the backcountry, built for the hunt. Precision meets innovation. You get the Franke Momentum, a rifle built for those who demand more from their hunt. Designed for ultimate comfort with its ergonomic stock, precision barrel, and crisp trigger pull, the Franke Momentum gives you the confidence to take that perfect shot. Hunt with momentum, the Franke Momentum, a new force and precision. Find yours at frankeusa.com. For the reloader who demands precision, there's only one name, the RCBS Rock Chucker. Built with heavy-duty cast iron frame, the Rock Chucker delivers smooth, reliable reloading for every shot, every time. Whether you're crafting for competition or fine-tuning for the hunt, trust the press that delivers precision. RCBS Rock Chucker, because perfection isn't just a goal, it's a process. Get yours at rcbs.com and reload with confidence. In 1854, Smith & Wesson launched a lever gun. That was the volcanic lever action, all right? Very nice gun. I'm sure it was acclaimed back in the day. But times have changed. I'm telling you right now, times have changed, and Smith & Wesson jumped back into the lever gun market with their Model 1854. Now you can get it in a traditional walnut stock, or if you're a more tactical age and you don't want to look like your granddad out there hunting, you can go with a little more tactical version. It's got M-LOK. But let's talk about some of the finer details of the Model 1854. I like to start with the trigger, man, because behind every great gun is a great trigger. And the 1854 absolutely just knocked it out of the park with their flat-face trigger. I really like that. And then on the safety aspect of things, you look at the magazine tube. It's removable. So there's no like dumping the gun out and everything like that. You can actually remove the magazine tube, and it just makes sense. It just makes sense to me that that's the way it probably should have been designed in the first place. But it's got a threaded barrel. It accepts mounts compatible with Marlin 1894 hole patterns. Again, a walnut stock or a black synthetic stock with textured grip panels, where you need it most, which is, I love that. Excess sights ghost ring rear sight, which is top notch. But anyway, man, if you really want to stand out, either in the field or at the range, check out the 1854 series from Smith & Wesson, smith-wesson.com. Let's talk about powder. Hodgdon.com. That's where you find a lot of your powder needs. Let's talk more about Winchester Sta-Ball Match. This temperature-insensitive double base ball powder is stable in extreme hot or cold conditions. So to me, what that means is if I'm reloading in the hot temperatures of Louisiana, man, when I take off to Oklahoma and the temperatures absolutely tank, I can count on that ammunition. I can count on that powder to be stable. And, typical of a ball powder, precise metering contributes to consistent velocity and pressure with lower standard deviations, ingredients that are paramount to match grade accuracy. Now, you're looking at, with Sta-Ball Match, what you're looking at is 223 Remington, 224 Valkyrie, 22-250, 308 Winchester, and 30-06. And a couple more that if you want to test it out. So find out more about Winchester Sta-Ball Match at hodgdon.com/Winchester. All right, we're back with the Shawn Skipper of Leupold Optics. We just heard about a cat hunt and a mountain lion hunt. And I want to say thank you to all the Colorado residents that voted down. Proposition was 127.
127.
That was going to ban cat hunting. Thank you for not passing that. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. But so let's back up before the cat hunt. Let's talk about this bison hunt. Dude, okay, so it's private property, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How'd that come about? I mean, what was the decision and the determining factor on going and chasing the American bison?
So we're always looking to do some different stuff with media events and things like that. Put our optics into different scenarios, put them out there with different people, just in somewhere where you can create a story. You're on the media side. And our mutual friend, I know you know him if you haven't seen him in a while, Mr. Joe Arterburn.
That's awesome.
The legend Joe Arterburn called us and was like, I've got a spot we can hunt bison from wall tents, do the whole deal in Wyoming. We're lucky snow. Obviously, we didn't get snow until a couple of days later, which led to the cat, but we were hoping for some weather, didn't really get it. And partners at Browning and Winchester said, let's do it. Let's give it a shot. They said, I've got some new products. I wanted to get in front of some of the guys like you, get your take on them, really put them to the test in the field. Yeah. And so we went for it. And very just unique hunt, unique terrain. Bison, they're cagey critters. These are even private land bison that are used to seeing people, and they're still jumpy and they're still on the move. And man, they are tough. They are big, tough animals.
Yeah, I've seen them. The worst decision I've ever seen a company make was to go chasing after bison. Big. I mean, these suckers are big, so they're big, tough. They've been around forever. But to go chasing after them with handguns, man,
I bet I know the company you're talking about.
I bet you do. I bet you do too. But that one ended in a goat rope. I mean, it was an absolute goat rope, and it was a shame. But yeah, they're tough critters. And what caliber were you guys using?
We were shooting 300 Win Mag, which did the job. We had a couple guys kill them one shot.
Yep.
One shot, one kill. It performed. Winchester loads, nozzle Akibon bullets, absolutely did the work. You could go more. You could go up to, dangerous game calibers if you really wanted to and knock them down. But these were absolutely sufficient. And we had a great opportunity, like I said, to put some new products to work. We had our existing range finding binos out there. We had some new stuff on the scope side, just doing what we do.
Man, I'll tell you, the BX4 range HDs, like, dude, they're nice. Like they are. I mean, they are in my pack every day. Like they are amazing. So you ended up killing one, right?
Yes. Killed
Okay.
probably the biggest bison in the group, just coincidental. That's
Sure.
to get on. Well, I'm a big fella. I needed a big bison for the
You
for the
did?
real trophy here. I'm getting a bison coat made.
No, you're not.
Yes, so it won't be done till the spring between tanning and all
Yes.
of that. So I can't wear to SHOT Show or this trade show season, but trade show season 2026, I don't
It's
care how hot it is, wearing a bison coat at all times.
dude, a shot show on the floor or
Yeah,
NRA in Atlanta this year.
yeah. Oh
There's
yeah,
gonna
in the
be
heat, just gonna wear my
sports.
bison coat anyway.
Yes. Dude, you're a regular like Kevin Costner or what was his in uh Dances with Wolves. What was his I forget his character's name.
Oh
John
yeah. Well,
something.
well, I'm thinking more Anthony Hopkins in Legends of the Fall.
Oh yeah, yeah, you could do that, but you're not that old, man.
No, no,
Yeah, see that's the problem. I see you more as the Kevin Costner type.
okay, I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome. So
But
what
no,
was
so
that?
it was
How'd
an
y'all hunt
exciting.
them?
So it was spot and stalk. Sometimes you get into big herds. Obviously, they're herd animals. Other times
Right.
you'd find smaller pockets, 3, 4 bison together, and kind of get out and make a move. Use the
Okay.
terrain to kind of get on them, play the wind. Same as hunting anything else.
Yeah. And then
And they tend to stand out when you do see them. They're just big. It's
yeah,
kind of like when you see me. Like I just stand out.
you stand out. It's just,
Yeah.
so how far are the shots typically? I mean, they could vary, I'm sure.
We had everything from about 60, which was mine. I got down to some timber and kind of made a slow approach and
Oh, cool.
shot them kind of out in a meadow from the timber.
Yeah.
To there was one that was out in the wide open. There was no approaching this animal, but he was a big, beautiful bison. So the shot was
Yeah.
more by 300 yards.
Oh, really? That
Mhm.
ain't bad. Do they use horses out there at all to
We have them.
mask movement?
We did not. No, we did not try that. I've seen that obviously with other animals. They've got some horses. They didn't use them to mask movement.
Yeah.
We had inquired about just hunting off of them rather than using trucks, but they didn't want to do that quite yet.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
don't.
real
I
old
mean,
school. I think the real way to do it would be thinking lever action,
sharps.
like a one. We're an optics company, so
You're an
I want,
optics company,
I
so
want my
yeah.
I want my 1 to 5 one there.
Yeah.
Lever,
I'll accept that.
the VX5 HD 1 to 5 lever action horses.
Yeah.
I think already wearing a buffalo coat, of course. I think that'd be the way to do it.
So would you crawl within? Would you crawl within shooting distance, like under 100 yards? If you had to close 100 yards to make the shot with your bison coat, you just crawl on the ground, right?
Yeah, I think
On all fours.
I think you'd have to get your shot. Just be a bison, right?
Just hope there's no other hunters around. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
No,
there's a big one.
Hey, look, I once watched 2 hunters try to approach an antelope that was out in the middle of nowhere in New Mexico in 90-degree weather under a heavy red blanket pretending to be a cow.
No.
And they got down to 200 yards and he still missed.
Now see
Crawling over
that's
cactuses and
insult to injury.
rattlesnakes and everything else.
Man, that's insult to injury. We had out on an oryx hunt. We had a guy wanting to use the kind of a similar setup. Like they're under a white sheet and like half of it's painted orange,
Mm-hmm.
and it did not work at all. Because I mean, the sheet's starting to blow a little bit, and it's abnormal movement and stuff. So it would have to be a heavy blanket, I think, to work. And doing anything like that in hot weather sounds like it would suck.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, dude, where are you out to next? And I also am going to put you on the spot here in a second.
Always trying to put me on the spot. Well,
I
next
do.
November, I am around home. Just going to do some duck hunting with my buddies here in
Yep.
Oregon. And then later in December, I will head back home to South Dakota, or not really home, but it is where my family lives now. Obviously, I'm
Yep.
East Coast, born and raised, but they live in South Dakota now for some pheasant hunting in the holidays. So kind of a chill
Nice.
end of the year, maybe get River some work.
Yeah.
Call some guys like you to hype up some Leupold optics because there are a few
Yeah.
things I want to get on the optics side too here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Huh. Yeah, absolutely.
Got to make you work for a
because-
living over there.
Well, yeah. I mean, we do have to work. Well, I called you. I texted you right after. I thought you were back. You might not have been back, but it was unapologetically. But my apologies for disturbing you on a Sunday. Was like, hey, I've got to replace an optic that I'm having issues with. I need a Leupold. so yeah. So that is an interesting story. Like, so on your crosshairs,
Mm-hmm.
I like a thin crosshair. All right. I like thin.
AJ, you're really dating yourself by calling things crosshairs.
Your reticle, whatever. Like in your reticle, I prefer like the lines to mean something rather than just having a thick reticle. To have a thick reticle and you've got a illuminated dot in the center,
Mhm.
like man, it just clouds the whole optic up for me. And I see more of a trend going like thinner, but this one I don't know what the deal is, but it is. I can't shoot accurately with
Mhm.
a thick reticle.
Mhm.
Do you see that across the board? Like more people going to thinner reticles?
Well, for sure. So more precise reticles, thinner, if you want to use that term. Yeah, they've
Yeah.
kind of come out in the precision rifle game. They've
Yeah.
stemmed from that.
Right.
Because especially at longer ranges, the difference between where you're holding in that reticle makes an incredible amount of difference. Now, those older, thicker reticles will still always have a place. We still
Yeah.
have them in certain rifle scope lines, and what they exist for are folks that either do not need super precise holdovers
Right.
or folks that honestly, if your eyesight starts to fail, whether again you just you're like me, you just have terrible
Okay.
eyes. If you get a little older, they're easier to find in a hurry, right? Because especially, let's face it, I mean, you're an East Coaster now, and you're originally from Oklahoma. Sometimes when that
Yeah.
white steps out at last light, you need to bring your gun up and just know where your reticle is right away. And some of those bolder stadia really help with that.
Okay. All right. Okay. I can see that. Like that.
Now you throw up some of the Mark V reticles at last light.
Well,
You might good luck situation.
your PR, like a PR2 reticle, which I absolutely love the PR2 reticle. But you're starting to talk about like the BDC reticles and stuff like that. They're a little bit thicker. Man, I never thought about that aspect of it.
Yeah,
I
I mean, you
never.
throw up a really fine reticle at last light when you've got a couple seconds to put that in that deer's shoulder.
Yep.
Unless you're super experienced with that reticle, it's going to be it can and will be a challenge.
Yeah.
So some guys that are just traditional hunters, they like those thick stadia, right? Because they just want to know when they bring that gun up, no matter what the situation, they're gonna be able to see their aiming point and put it on the animal.
Well, wouldn't that be a better case for a lit illuminated reticle?
Oh, absolutely. We move a lot of illuminated reticles. That's why you have it in. We've got them in the VX3 HD, the VX5 HD, the VX6 HD, and then everything on the tactical side.
Yeah.
That said, there are still some states where illuminated reticles are illegal for hunting, so you have to be mindful of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, and you guys got the fire dot, the fine duplex reticles. Like there's a lot of good ones out there. So how would you recommend? I mean, is it all personal preference and what you're using it for? Because I personally like to, whatever I'm competing with, I like to use in the field. But that, honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, does not translate to my kids because my kids use my guns.
Mhm.
So, I,
It's all what you're using it for in preference, right?
yeah,
Right tool for the right job. So say your buddy, your next door neighbor called, said, KJ, I'm putting up a fence. Can you help me? And you
nope,
said, okay. And well, I appreciate it.
nope, sorry,
But you said, okay, sure. And you asked him, well, what kind of tools do you have? If he said, I have a hammer and a couple different screwdrivers, this guy has no idea what he's dealing with, right? He's
yeah,
basic. Is different jobs require different tools. And
yeah,
if someone just says, I have a hammer, they aren't very experienced in what the many, many different types of blunt force tools. Or yeah,
yeah,
I've got a screwdriver. Oh, okay. Which one is it? And
jeez,
it's the same. It's the same way, right? So you
yep,
you need different tools for different jobs. We make different reticles for different applications. If you're very comfortable with the PR2, PR3 mil reticles, you can absolutely hunt with them. I know a bunch of guys that do.
yeah.
If you are not familiar with those reticles, haven't been out there shooting and training with them, I would not advise taking them hunting.
No, absolutely not. No, if you don't know, if you look in that scope, you're gonna go, "What am I looking at?"
Yeah,
But
and if I wouldn't take a duplex reticle to a competition. It's
no,
different tools, different jobs.
yep, agreed. Now, here's one interesting one that I found on your website. Is this actually a really cool one? The Fire Dot Twilight Hunter
Mhm.
illuminated, and it's on the VX3 HD and the VX Freedom. That actually kind of looks like it's almost like the best of both worlds because you get a fire dot, You
Mhm.
get a thin reticle for hunting purposes, and all the lines has to have meaning on them. So that's
Yeah, and the on the Twilight Hunter reticles, again, the thick stadia, on the
Mhm.
outsides of the field of view, they start off thick. They're meant to naturally draw your eye to the center where their fired out will be.
right.
There's
So
science to it, believe it or not. We don't just sit here with napkins and have a beer and just make up reticles.
you don't have a good IPA and sit around and in your
No,
coffee shops up there.
there's a real science to it. We have engineers and all over here. One thing we're very proud of is that between optical and electrical engineers, we got about 80 in the building, which no American
That's a
optics.
lot.
Oh yeah, and no American optics
Jeez.
company can even come close to that.
Dude, that's awesome. That's cool. Uh, so you're definitely not going to give me any more hints on what the new optics are going to be, are you?
Oh, I can't give you any more hints because I got to put one in the mail to you later today. It's like Christmas. You got to wait.
Dude, I know. Can I ask one question?
All right, what do you got?
Hunting or long range?
It's going to be on the hunting side.
Oh, I'm excited now. Are you serious?
Yeah, absolutely.
But here again, I talk about using long range optics on the hunting side. So you could just be kind of duping me and I get it in the mail and I'm like, I would totally use this in long range.
Oh, it's a new era for America. Maybe I'm messing with you. We'll find out.
Oh gosh. Now I don't know. I don't know if he's messing with me or not. I guess we will find out because you know what? I stripped the optic, I cleaned the gun. I've got the perfect host weapon for this.
Mhm.
Like so it's already ready to go. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Um
And on optics, one thing I wanted to hit you with, and I'll follow up with you. One
yeah.
thing I'll talk to you and Ryan both about doing some content on here in the near future. Our Delta Point Pro. When I
Yes.
mentioned that in your case, yes, obviously it's a pistol optic. You can put it on a great many number of pistols, but that's not where I kind of come after you guys on it. I
AR.
want to talk about the multi-platform uses of the Delta Point Pro on our
Shotgun.
45 shotgun, and then on our 45-degree angle mount on a rifle, on our ring top
Yep.
mount on a rifle. Fantastic applications both in the tactical and the hunting world.
Yeah.
Full use, obviously, if you're running, maybe a 1 to 5 or 1 to 6 or something on your AR, you're dialed up, and then you can always still, in a hurry, pivot back to using that 45-degree angle mount to shoot the Delta Point Pro at close range if needed. The hunting side, we've found a lot of guys using them in dangerous game places. If you're going to be hunting
Oh
Alaska,
yeah.
anywhere
Yeah.
in the north, anywhere in Canada or Montana where you might run into the man in the brown suit, the old grizzly bear, real problems. You still run your 3 to 18 hunting scope and have that red dot there for an absolutely like, oh crap, worst case scenario.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
it's a great multi-platform optic.
so and another great use of this would also be, and I know like not the hunting shotgun side of it, but the defensive shotgun side of it. So if you've got a home setup and some of these shotguns, man, they get shorter, they get unwieldy, and you don't have experienced shooters in the house that are always the ones that or could be the ones that have to pick up that firearm.
Mhm.
Like this is point and shoot technology. This is pick up the red dot, point and shoot. Like so when you talk about different uses for a Delta Point Pro and it's which dots are those? Is that the 2.5
2.5
MOA
MO.
dot? Yeah.
Yes. And and the other great thing with a dot on a shotgun, right? Especially for self-defense uses. In a high stress situation,
Mm-hmm.
may not get your cheek weld appropriate on a shotgun. You may not get a lot of things appropriate on a shotgun because no matter how much you train, until you're in a high stress situation, you have no idea how you're going to respond. Right.
No, absolutely.
Thing is, if you can see that dot, where that dot is pointed is where you're going to shoot. Like, so even if you're off, like, because you're shaking, you're excited, you're
Yeah.
worried. If you can see that dot, where that dot is where your shell is going to disperse.
Man, and when you talk about it's funny you mentioned having them on a 45 degree on a rifle that you may take into the backcountry. Man, I'm going to tell you right now, you're not raising that gun up, and you are not going to get that fine reticle. You're just not going to. There's
Mhm.
no freaking way. So a red dot would make a lot of sense. In
Oh
that
yeah, or
aspect of
if
it.
it's close range, right? Maybe if you're out hunting even in high timber, you may have a scope that starts at 3 or 4 power, And even if you're dialed all the way down, if something surprises you up close, that's still a heck of a lot of magnification.
Nope. It's all that's a lot of magnification. And just at that point, you're pointing at hair as of seeing a full field of view with just a red dot. Man, that makes a big difference. Huge difference.
So yeah, I'd love to get some Delta Point Pro sent down to you guys and let you come with them and some alternative solutions.
So how about the mounting systems on those? I know we talked about the 45-degree offset that you guys have. Do you guys, how do you set that up on a hunting rifle? Like, so if you're taking a, regular, you've got your scoped rifle in there, whether it be a 3.5 to 18 or whatever you've got, like how are you mounting that 45-degree?
Truthfully, on a lot of hunting rifles, which you're going to want to use our ring top mount. So we have those in the Mark IV rings. Okay. Just that 45-degree mount on a lot of hunting rifles is going to either just not fit on your mounting solution, or if you're running a bolt action, get in the way of the bolt, things like that. So we have our Mark IV rings with ring top mounts. So that would just go on top of your scope.
Okay.
The 45-degree long pick rails, things like that is kind of it's ARs. That's more of its home.
Yeah, more of AR deal. That makes sense. Huh. Now you've given me something to think about because I do a little bit of it, but not a whole lot of hunting up in Alaska. Or I do some in Canada, but I'm thinking of like hogs, man. Like,
yeah,
I mean, it would be perfect for hogs. Like,
absolutely.
So I had a buddy. We were out hunting whitetail, and I kid you not, he's sitting there. He's a typical southeastern hunter. When I say the story, you're gonna understand. You're gonna go, oh yeah. They typically overgun. So he was out there hunting with a 300 Win Mag because that's what, man, he thought. Well, partly why is because they want to shoot them, they fall down, and they don't run off in the woods, so you have to track them through snake-infested areas. I get that. But, so he goes out to Oklahoma, and, man, I haven't hunted with a 300 Win Mag in Oklahoma in a decade. And so he was sitting there walking, and I kid you not, there was a massive hog that jumped up within 2 or 3 feet of him. Scared the crap out of him. And I jumped back and I look and I'm like, shoot him. Man, he had his scope cranked to about, I think it was like a 4 power or something like that. He could not find him in that scope. He was so close. Ended up, exactly. Hog gets away. So that's a great example of why.
And hey, he's lucky it left. I mean, I've had some hogs kind of want to give me the business.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, I've run into a few that get a little
testy
early on you, and they'll kill you just as quick as a bear.
Yeah, they will. Like, especially if you don't. Man, if you're not ready for it, it is alarming.
I've read stories of people getting killed by beavers. We're pretty fragile. You hit the wrong artery and we're dead.
A beaver? I don't think I'd let anybody publish that story about me. Like,
well, you wouldn't have a choice. You'd be dead.
I know. Like, this is how. I know what would happen if a beaver ended up killing me. Skip would be like, "Hold on a second, I want to tell this story."
Yeah,
he'd be the first to line up.
Ryan, get on the podcast.
Yeah. All right, I'm taking over Gun Talk Hunt.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's God, getting killed by a beaver, that would suck.
That happened to a lady when I lived in Virginia years ago. It was in the news. Beaver attacked her by a pond and bit her on the leg, severed her artery. She didn't get help in time. Did.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's hog, some of those hogs got tusks. They hit you the wrong spot when you're in the woods. You might not make it out.
Dude, I saw, here we go telling like stories that we see. I saw like a short on, I think a reel on Instagram, and this guy was obviously in a foreign country, but they were cockfighting, and he threw the rooster out. The rooster jumps back at him immediately and like spurs him in the leg. Immediately, blood everywhere. Like, cut his artery. Like, that dude probably did not make it. Because I guarantee you, no one at that cockfight had a tourniquet. They had a lot of leather belts.
Yeah.
But
anyway. Every now and then I hear a story that reminds me that karma might exist. Karma might actually.
You're right. That might exist. Oh, all right. I'm gonna hit you with one more thing.
All right. What do you got?
All right, Alaska Department Fish and Game today launched, and it's only through like a certain amount of time, your permits that you can do for draw hunts.
Okay.
I'm just saying, with the deadline coming up, now's the time to start thinking about next year if we want to go chase some game.
All right. What are you thinking? I've been to Alaska. I've hunted Alaska a few times. I know
you've hunted a lot. Here's all the species: brown bear, black bear, bison, caribou, goat, moose, muskox, sheep, and elk. I'm gonna tell you right now, muskox seems like it's a really cold hunt.
It can be. I've seen them when it's 55 degrees up there.
Really?
I've been far enough north in August, September where you'll see them, and it's not too bad. It all depends on the time of the season and where you're hunting them, because you hunt them everywhere from northern mainland Alaska with the draw to the more elusive like wild islands.
Yeah,
they can be squirrely. I've heard of them charging cub planes and everything when they land.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you, and they all back in, so they back in to protect themselves, and they fight as a group, from what I hear.
Yeah, and they're big critters.
Oh, they're big.
You gotten a caribou yet? You better get a caribou, because that could become more and more difficult in the next few years.
I haven't gotten a caribou yet, and I've seen them. I've seen them out in the wild, and I'm like, man, that'd be cool. I should do that.
And everybody should live with the fear of a grizzly bear eating them during their caribou hunt at least once.
Absolutely. Like, why, dude? I did that when I was on a blacktail hunt. I was terrified. I was like, oh man, keep your eyes out.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just wanted to hit you up and let you know that, hey, the draw hunts are out. So if we want to go have an adventure, let's do it.
Well, I'll have to give you a call offline to talk about this scope anyway. So let's chat it out.
All right. Sounds good. Shawn Skipper of Leupold Optics, man. Skip, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, buddy.
All right, all you gun talk hunters, you know the drill. Keep those muzzles pointed in a safe direction and always be on the hunt.